In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to day trade using TradeZero. This episode will be a platform demo where I'm going to walk you through how I create my layout and how I've optimized the TradeZero desktop software for my day trading strategy. At the end of this episode, I'm going to give TradeZero a ROS score where I'm going to share with you whether or not I would use this account with real money, both with a small account or if I would consider using them as my primary day-to-day trading account. Now, one thing I'll say at the beginning of this episode is that TradeZero is a very popular broker-dealer. And one of the reasons they're so popular is because they have an international branch. And for international customers who sign up through their international branch, they get 6 times leverage. So if you put in $1,000, you could trade with up to $6,000 of buying power, which is amazing. And they do not enforce the pattern day trader rule. However, that is only for international clients. So sometimes US traders will be looking for an international broker-dealer so they can get around the pattern day trader rule, but TradeZero with their international branch does not accept US customers for that purpose. Now they also have a US branch, but the US branch requires the standard $25,000 to day trade in a margin account. But for international traders, TradeZero is very popular. And you know what? TradeZero is also very popular for short sellers for a couple very specific reasons. We're gonna get into that as we dive into this episode. So through this episode, I'm also gonna share with you a broker comparison where we're gonna look at a number of different broker dealers here and rank how TradeZero compares. Now, on the most key elements that I require for my day trading strategy, TradeZero ranks well. They have level 2, that's a must. They have hotkeys on the desktop. They allow offsets on the hotkeys. You can sell by a percentage of your position, and they show halt levels. Okay, so these are really, to me, some of the most important, and TradeZero has all of them. Now, we're gonna go through all of these in a moment, but let's just step back and take a look at the TradeZero desktop software. So when you first install it on your computer, it comes preloaded with kind of a simple layout. I have a screenshot of it right here. It's, it's fine. It's just sort of a standard layout, but not exactly what I was looking for. Now, by the way, when I first created my demo account, it rejected me. I think maybe because they already had my email in their system, but I don't really know. I used a different email and I was able to get the download link, and from that link, download TradeZero Zero Pro right here, which is their desktop software. They also have web-based software and a mobile app, which you could check out as well. All right, so then you get logged in here with your username and your password, and you are good to go. All right, so I immediately needed to sort of adjust this platform to my standards. So let me show you, just as an example here, this software that you're gonna see right here is Lightspeed Trading. So, and by the way, I'll just tell you right now, I don't have any affiliate relationship with TradeZero, with Lightspeed, with any broker dealer. So everything I'm sharing with you here is just my honest opinion of the platforms that I like, that I think are really great, but it's not colored by me getting a commission if you sign up. So sign up where you want, don't sign up where you don't want. It's really up to you. I'm just sharing based on all of my years of trading experience, the type of things that I think are must-haves in trading software. So the way I lay out my software is I have 4 level 2 windows, which you can see right here. Now with Lightspeed, they change the color of the one that's in focus to be, you can have it be brighter, and it has this yellow ring around it. And that's important because that's the window that your hotkeys are gonna work on. So you kind of wanna know like if I send a hotkey, which window is it gonna go through? And then in the top left, I have my positions window here, which just shows me the stock, the position size, the cost basis, the open P&L, and the realized P&L. Active orders sit here. So if I place an order on this down here, for instance, it's gonna sit there in active orders. So I like to know if I have an active order live before I close my platform for the day. Canceled and executed orders are here, news window is here. So this is pretty much this is the layout that I'm accustomed to, so I try to replicate this whenever I set up a different platform. So one thing that I'll say as sort of one of my first observations is when I open this up, I click on the market depth. So market depth is gonna open up a level 2 window. I started popping them out, so I popped out 4 of them, and immediately I'm like, this is great. Visually, this is exactly what I look for. You can go into preferences, and you can change from this gradient to the old classic to the sterling green. I use the old classic. Personally, I actually prefer, as you could see on my Lightspeed account, to have the green on top. So I have the colors a little bit different. I think the coloring that I have is maybe what was standard on E-Trade many years ago when I was using it. So that's what I got used to. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. So you can apply that. Some platforms do let you actually right click and you can change the colors there. This doesn't seem to give you that option, but that's all right. So anyway, so I got this set up, and you can also link your windows. So here you could see my chart has an A right there. So A, B, C, D, blah, blah, blah. So you can link this to A, and then what'll happen is if we change this, it'll change this. So now our windows are linked together, and that's a very nice, intuitive way to have your windows linking. It's logical. There's other software out there that allows you to link, but you have to do some weird clicking, and it's very, you would have to go into the instruction manual to figure it out. You don't have to do that with this. It's pretty straightforward. You can figure it out pretty easily. So we'll switch back to this ticker, GCL. So we've got our time and sales here. We've got our time and sales right here, and we've got our level 2 right here. And for the most part, there's nothing I would really change about this. This works for me just fine. Now, I'll preface by saying this is not a funded account. This is an account that I just set up the demo just to walk you through how to use this software. The primary reason that people would use TradeZero would be, number one, you're international and you're looking for a broker that offers 6 times leverage and doesn't enforce the PDT rule. Or number two, you're a short seller and you either don't mind opening the US branch or you're an international short seller. Because TradeZero has a great inventory of shares available to borrow and they're low cost. If you're interested in short selling, one thing they'll tell you is that most short sellers are gonna have multiple brokerage accounts because on the day when you see your A quality setup, you want to be able to get shares. And now what if it's just the luck of the draw that the broker that you have doesn't have shares available, right? Because in order to short a stock, you have to borrow it and then sell the shares onto the open market. Then you buy back those shares to cover it. So to get the initial shares in the first place, the broker has to lend them to you. Now, this is the process that everyone goes through, but for some stocks, they can be very hard to borrow and you have to pay a high fee. And that fee is priced on every share you borrow. So I've seen times where you could be paying $10,000 to borrow 10,000 shares with one broker, and with another broker, you pay $500. So that is substantial. So making sure you're shopping around for a broker that is lower priced with borrowing rates is going to be really important. So TradeZero is going to be sort of one of the tools in your tool belt as a short seller, along with perhaps Centerpoint, Guardian, Cobra, and maybe Interactive Brokers, although I probably wouldn't use Interactive Brokers. All right, so, but for my purposes, TradeZero, and I don't want to give away my score. This doesn't affect the score, but for my purposes, it's not a broker that has a super appeal to me because it doesn't have something that I really need that I can't find anywhere else. That's just my experience so far. All right, so we've got our level 2 here. Now, one thing that I do like with other platforms also is the ability to change the font here. Now, I'm going to say something that you guys are going to think is probably crazy. You're not even going to believe it. But, you know, I keep hearing this trend of people saying, I'm sick of using Arial as my font. You know, I really want to start using Papyrus. And I get it. Papyrus is fun. You know, it's a cool font. It's kind of whimsy. You know, it's like, oh, this is so interesting. And you can't do that over at TradeZero. So I don't know what they have against Papyrus, but they won't allow it. You can't change the font here. So it's a real shame. And for me, it's not just the font, it's making it bold. And for those that didn't catch on there, I'm not serious that I like Papyrus. I keep it at Arial, but I do like it as bold, and you can't change that either. So that's a little bit of a limitation. Is it a deal breaker? No, but it's a limitation. Now, one thing I'll say, because I'm jumping in and out of preferences a lot, is each time I open the preferences window, do you see how it kind of goes white and then it sort of populates? That is not something I love. It makes me feel like the software is just a little slow to load. You know, everything kind of stops while it's loading that. And I don't really know why that's the case. It's not the case with other platforms that I'm accustomed to. So, that's kind of something that I just sort of noticed initially, and that we'll come back on as a little piece of feedback that I've also heard from other traders. All right, so we'll leave that there for now, and then I just won't save those changes. All right, so over here, you can also go into your preferences and you can change your order buttons down below. So you've got the order buttons down here. You can go down here to, buttons. So you could change these buttons around as you'd like. So I think that's kind of nice. You could change those buttons. For trading, this is something that basically by default, everyone's on smart routing. So TradeZero also has an interesting niche here where not only are they a broker that allows 6 times leverage for international customers and does not enforce the PDT rule, they also have 0 commissions. What? 0 commissions? How do they do it? This is amazing. So the way it works on their pricing is that it's very interesting. Free limit and market orders right here. So this is just really fantastic. And it's a competitive advantage because all the other offshore brokers like CMEG or Ocean One, they charge commissions and they're not cheap. So TradeZero, if you were an international customer and you could choose any of these 3, you'd probably be inclined to seriously consider TradeZero. They're free, right? That's fantastic. And they allow trading starting at 4 a.m. This is really a great platform. If you're a US customer and looking for a PDT, way around it, then they're not an option. So then you're forced with using one of these 2 brokers. And I think that if I'm going to be honest, the reason these brokers, they accept US customers, but there's risk in doing that, and they charge the commission and they make money doing that, and that offsets the risk. And I think TradeZero is not interested in taking that risk. They've been around for a long time. They want to be around for a long time. And so they just don't do it. But international traders is okay. Now, before I forget, some of you guys tuning in right now might be interested in learning more about my day trading strategy. So I'm going to put a link, I'll pin it to the top comment, and I'll link it in the top of the description where you can download my small account worksheet as a PDF. That's a resource that you can utilize in your own trading. It's going to walk you through my trading plan, the type of stocks I like to trade, my 5 pillars of stock selection that I use to find stocks that I think have the potential to go up 50 to 100% or more. And I'm going to walk you through my precise entries and exits. So as you're learning more about trading platforms, if you want to learn more about my strategy, make sure you check out that link pinned to the top comment and in the description. So basically, the commissions are free. However, you can't choose anything other than smart routing. So it's just smart routing. So it's not a direct access broker. Although that's, that's the deal with all the other commission-free brokers. They're commission-free, but they're not direct access. And if you choose to direct access route, which for instance you could do with TradeStation and a few others, you could choose to direct route your order. Well, then you do pay a commission, and the commission could actually be, fairly expensive. So that's kind of your, that's your choice whether you want to go the commission-free route or you want to pay commission. The advantage of paying commissions is direct access routing, faster order execution, but you pay for it. And so for most traders who have smaller accounts who are just getting started, they're going to choose commission free because it's just a more economical way to get your kind of foot in the door and start trading. So you've got your level 2 windows, you've got your standard order entry window down here. Now, one thing that I like to do is I go into preferences, or actually, it's right here. I go into preferences and auto load quantity from positions on symbol change. I actually don't like to do that. I like to keep my quantity default. For me, I switch tickers quite a bit. And if I have a stock I'm already holding a position on, I might be considering adding to it, but I don't want it to default to the total position size of that position. So I just turn that off entirely. And I think that for me works better. But again, that's personal preference. So now once you've got this laid out like this, we've got our portfolio over on the left. So this is going to show the stocks or the positions that I'm holding. This is my open orders, if I have any open orders. This is my order history. Down here is my news window. Over here on this side, we've got a chart. TradeZero's charts are fairly basic, which is common among a lot of these brokers. You can't kind of manipulate them and scroll and zoom in to sort of make it look the way you'd like it to. You have a bunch of indicators you can add, and it's fine in that regard. But the problem for me is that I really like a platform where I can zoom by clicking on the axis here, click and zoom, and you can't do that here. So what a lot of platforms are using now is the TradingView engine, and then they connect it to their own market data, and we use that at Day Trade Dash as well. So that gives a little bit of a better experience for me. But one reason that some people would prefer to have it all in one place is that, you know, very quickly you can, oops, well, that one's not linked, but very quickly you're updating your charts, right? You're not having to type in two places at once, which is what otherwise you would have to do if you're using, let's say, Lightspeed for order execution, but then you're using Day Trade Dash for scanning. This is the Day Trade Dash software that I use. So for me, I do end up having to click twice or type it twice. So I have to type here and then I have to type again in my order entry window. So you don't have to do that with TradeZero, as long as you're okay with, you know, this software kind of looking the way it does, which, you know, it's like, is it the end of the world? No, it's not. You take away the previous close and that by itself, see how much that changes the chart? Because when you include the previous close on a stock that's up 175%, your chart has that yellow line at the bottom. So you take that off and that by itself makes the chart easier to read, quite a lot easier to read. So I can appreciate that for sure. Now, one thing that I will say about the charts that's really nice is you can actually go into the settings on TradeZero and you can make sure that your trades are displayed right on the chart. So this is something that's really nice about having charts that are integrated into the platform. You can show your trades here and you can have arrows and you know, sort of different details about it if you want. I think this is great. And so to me, even though these charts are not, to me, you know, in my experience, quite as nice as the charts that are powered by the TradingView engine, which is what I use here, but is also what you would use with Interactive Brokers and a number of other platforms that have utilized TradingView's engine. The charts aren't terrible. You know, you can work with them. And yeah, I would like it if you could click and scroll here to zoom in and click here. But you know, it's not the worst that I've ever seen. It really isn't. And you can go down to 5-second, 10-second, 15-second, 30-second timeframes. So the charts are not bad. You can link them as you would expect. And as long as you turn off the previous day's close, you're going to get a better view, kind of zoomed in of what you want. And they're fast. It loads quickly. The disadvantage of using, you know, a third-party platform for charting is that then you've got to go type the symbol twice. Right? You type it once in here for your level 2 and you type it once in the other platform. Now that's exactly what I've been doing for all these years. I enter once, you know, right here, and then I have to enter it right here as well. So it's doable, but you know, nothing's perfect. So it's kind of finding what works best for you. Now let's talk about setting up your hotkeys with TradeZero. So hotkeys are a must for my day trading strategy. They're easy to set up here. You go to the menu, you click the hotkeys, boom. Now you select what type of hotkey you want to create. So I'm going to go for setup or send order. We're going to do buy side. We're going to change the quantity to shares, and we're going to make it 1,000 shares. Boom. It's 1,000 shares. Order type, we're going to do, it's going to have to be a limit order because if I'm trading pre-market, and we'll do an offset of 10 cents, which will allow some slippage. It's going to be a smart route, which I'm in the demo, so you can't pull that up. It's going to be day plus, and we're going to do ask plus 10 cents. And I'm just going to leave that there, and I'm going to auto send the order. And that's it. This is very simple to set up. It's intuitive. It makes sense. You don't have to kind of like rack your brain like, wait, is it a offset? Is it, you know, for instance, TradeStation has shave and improve or join instead of just saying offset. Let's just make it simple. We're talking about an offset. You want to send a buy order, buy 1,000 shares. You want it above the ask or below the ask? I want it above the ask. Boom, I want it below the ask. Let's make it simple. So they make it simple. It's easy to use, easy to understand, and just like that, you're good to go. You script it to your key, and boom, you're all set. So now if we go over to the hotkey grid here, you can select which key you want to be on, and then you're fine. So the thing that that I think is important is that there's one specific, so I'll set this to shift 1. I'll click apply, and then we'll go over to the hotkey deck, right? So now we're gonna go to symbol liquidate. So this is a super important order for me. So I want to be able to send an order to sell half of my position, right? Sometimes I just want to sell half. So I don't want the confirmation. I just want to sell half, leave the root like that. And we're going to set that to control X to sell half. And so now you're able to move in and out of the market selling half, adding back, selling half. And then you create another hotkey for selling full. And you're able to create all these hotkeys, which I think is really important. So I'm a big advocate of being able to have hotkeys that enable you to move in and out of the market quickly. And if you can't do that, then what are you doing? Look, here's the thing. Trading is hard enough as it is without using low quality software. So let's pull up our broker comparison. And so let me just, before I do that, let me just say, when it comes to the hotkeys, I keep it really simple. So I'll just pull up my keyboard here. So these are the hotkeys that I use, and I would use as a beginner getting started. Shift 1, buy 1,000 shares. You want to set it to 100, set it to 100. Shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 100, 200, up to 500, etc. You could do that for 1,000 up to 5,000, 10,000 to 50,000, but the number doesn't matter. It's just, that's how we do it. Then to sell, Control Z to sell my full position, Control X to sell half my position, Control C to sell a quarter. And these are all going to liquidate the position. So I'm going to do a sell to bail out. Now, to sell on the ask, I'm going to do Control K or L or semicolon here to sell, adding liquidity. So if we go back to the hotkey here, we can go again, set up or send order. So we'll do sell side, we'll do position. You could do 50% here. It's a limit order. You're going to do, leave that the same. You're going to go this way here, day. We're going to do bid, and you could do minus 10 cents. So it's an offset 10 cents below the bid. And just like that, you could set up that hotkey. So you just have to know, if you're a pre-market trader, remember, you have to use limit orders. You cannot use market orders during regular trading hours. That's just the one thing you have to remember. But you can, during pre-market, we use limit, and during regular hours, you could do market. All right, so we'll go like that, and then add the hotkey grid. So we've got that one, and then you add a couple more, and you're good to go. So you want to sell on the ask, boom. We don't do an offset selling on the ask. We just put it right at the ask price. So that's Control K. Oops, Control K like that. And let's see. Oh, did I create a new one? So create a new hotkey. We got to create a new one. But you get the idea. So you can go through this, and it takes a little bit of time. But once you've got it set up, then you're good to go. You don't have to change it anymore. So you just do it once, and then you're all set. You got to go back in and change this. Oh, I don't want to have that offset like that. So set to 0, and keep the edits. So you just check it down there to make sure you have it set up the way you want. All right. Okay, so now let's do our broker comparison. Let's pull up the broker comparison sheet. So I'm going to give TradeZero a score of 7.5. As I say that, I'm kind of waffling a little bit here, but that's around where I'm going to put it for right now. So here's my thought. TradeZero is let's just go down this. Let's just go down the list. Let's look at it across the board. So we're look all these brokers that we've got up here, and TradeZero. Now this is a working sheet, so I update this periodically as I sort of discover new things about different brokers, this and that. Let's start with execution speed. So speed is important, and they are not the fastest, but they are not the slowest by far. The slowest actually, the slowest E-Trade and Webull are the slowest. And Webull still scored pretty well, and they scored well because their platform is solid. So TradeZero has a solid platform. But let's start at the top. So when it comes to execution speed, 0.035, where do I get this data from? All brokers that do payment for order flow are required to disclose execution speed and price improvement. And so you get price improvement on 25% of your orders, and your average execution speed is 0.035, which is solid. That's definitely faster than, certainly faster than Webull. It's faster than TradeStation. It's faster than Charles Schwab, but it's not as fast as Lightspeed. It wouldn't be as fast as Guardian or Centerpoint. CMEG and Ocean One, I haven't traded with Ocean One, so I couldn't say for sure. CMEG, it's probably similar. CMEG is not as fast as Lightspeed. It's fast, but not as fast. But TradeZero is a commission-free broker, and that gives them appeal. So they're commission-free and they're fast. What more can you ask for? Well, there is one thing, and I'll share with you my biggest critique of the platform. I'll share that with you in a minute. So they don't publish how much price improvement you get for every 100 shares. They just say you get price improvement on 25% of your orders. So it's a little bit vague how much improvement you get, but you do get price improvements. That's good. You don't have routing fees because they're commission free. The PDT rule is only for U.S. residents. So U.S. residents do have to abide by the $25,000 PDT rule. Leverage, you get 6 times leverage, but only if you're international. U.S. residents get the standard 4 times. So I'll just say 4x for U.S. residents, 6x for international residents. And we'll just say no, or yes for U.S. residents, no for international. All right. Or we could just say only at U.S. branch, but also for U.S. residents. Well, I don't know. Anyways, Webull is, again, only at the U.S. branch, but if a U.S. customer goes to the international branch, they would get rejected, and that would be the case with TradeZero as well. They do offer paper trading. Minimum account size, I think it's $500. We could go over to their website and check. Yeah, it's $500. Now, one thing that I'll say is TradeZero feels like they're kind of almost like trying to position themselves as the Robin Hood for international traders, because international traders don't have payment for order flow generally. They don't get commission-free trading, but TradeZero has found a way to make it possible. So international traders using, so we're on the international platform right here. You can go to the US website, but the platforms are the same. So it's $59 right here for the platform. And then we'll go back to international and we'll go over to, let's see, we want to go to Zero Free is one of their other platforms, but Zero Pro right here. And I think we just want to go over to pricing and fees here just to look at how this works. So we might need to pull this up to get more detail on it. But yeah, so this is TradeZero International. Limit orders must not create an immediate match. So you get free limit orders. So that's free non-marketable limit orders. But what's a little bit confusing here with TradeZero is their commissions. So here they say free limit orders. This is on the international side. So on the international side, you get free limit orders. But if we go to the US side is free limit orders and market orders. So it's sort of confusing. If you're an international customer, you get free limit orders, but not free market orders. And the limit order cannot create an immediate match. So let me show you what that means, just to help you better understand how this commission-free trading works. So let's go back in here for 1 second. I couldn't possibly with this font. Do need to make it Arial bold. So there we go. All right, so back to Arial bold. All right, so this right here is a marketable order. It'll execute immediately. It's marketable. So even though it's a limit order, it executes instantaneously. It immediately creates a match. Whereas this order here, I put the buy order at 85. That order did not immediately create a match. And so what that means is that my order is adding liquidity to the market, and TradeZero will actually earn a rebate for all their customers that add liquidity. They keep the rebate, and that's what gives them some profit so they can give you commission-free trading. So other platforms would give the rebate to you, but then also you would pay a fee when you execute a marketable order. So with TradeZero here, the way this works is your paid orders would cost $5 for 1,000 shares. So if you do an order for 1,000 shares, it's $5. It's 0.005. 10,000 shares would be $50. So it's going to add up. Now, if you looked at just a competitive, let's see, Lightspeed routing fees. If you look at Lightspeed's fees over here, pricing, just to compare it, they're as low as 0.001, right? So they're actually, I mean, TradeZero is 5 times more expensive, 0.005. So the difference between $10 for 10,000 shares or $50 for 10,000 shares, TradeZero is more expensive. So what do you get at TradeZero that's worth spending that money for? Well, if you're a Canadian customer, hey, they accept Canadians. I shouldn't say hey, I should say they accept Canadians. So this is nice. Canadians have a really tough time with US broker dealers. A lot of US broker dealers won't accept them. Centerpoint does, but Lightspeed does not, TradeStation does not, Schwab does not. So if you're Canadian, you don't have a lot of choices. So you end up paying a little bit more in commission. If you're an international trader who is looking for 6 times leverage, you don't have a lot of choices. You pay the higher commission. If you're an international trader who wants great access to shorts, availability of shares to borrow, then you're back to here. So they do have an offering that is competitive. I mean, they have things that you don't get everywhere else for certain people. Now, their US branch, and I suppose we could split this between TradeZero International and TradeZero US. I mean, I might as well. So if we were going to do that, TradeZero International, TradeZero USA. TradeZero International gives you 6 times leverage, but you just have to note, does not accept US customers. So people who are trying to go there for the PDT rule, it's just not going to happen. So no PDT rule. So the answer is no, and the answer here is yes. All right. So here you've got you have price improvement on the US side. You don't have it on the international side. Here it's free on non-marketable limit orders or 0.005 per share for marketable orders of any kind. And then there you go, free across the board. Going down further, this is going to be essentially, I would say your minimum in the US effectively is $25,000 because of the PDT rule. Even if it's not actually, that's effectively what it is. The platform's the same for both. And this is all the same for both. And this is all the same. Well, down here, yeah, for the most part, this is all the same. The only one is the Canadian. The US branch probably doesn't accept Canadians if I had to guess, but I'm just going to leave that as a blank because I have to just confirm that. And the US branch probably does not accept international accounts, but I'll leave those two as a blank until I confirm it. All right, so this gives you a sense of where TradeZero sits. I think in my opinion, if you're a US customer, you're most likely going to be better off with Schwab and DAS Trader. And the reason is you're going to get more price improvement. The execution speed is similar, and the DAS Trader platform is really solid. People have given great feedback about it for a long time. So it's a really solid platform. So I would almost say here, it's a little bit lower. And I had a notes column. I'll just add it back. So TradeZero USA, great for short inventory. Some users complain about platform stability. So the platform just not being as great. And this is great for short inventory. No PDT for international customers, 6 times leverage, and great short inventory. All right, so you've got that right there going for it. So TradeZero International, to me, is the one that's a bit more competitive and has a bit more of a value proposition. and it would attract people that Charles Schwab just can't attract, just because of the nature of it. So that is my score right now, and subject to change. As always, I do think about this from time to time and make adjustments. But for right now, I'm going to say TradeZero International is 7.5. And if you're a US customer, I would encourage you to check out Charles Schwab using Dash Trader. So you can check out the Dash Trader demo. And you can also check out Webull, which is a great platform for US customers as well. And if you enjoyed this episode, I hope you hit the thumbs up. I hope you subscribe to the channel. If you want to learn more about my strategy, make sure you download my small account worksheet. The link is pinned to the top of the comments and in the description. All right, that's it for me. I'll see you for the next upload real soon.